That was me now.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but I cannot see you.
Okay, one second.
You were waiting.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you and I can see you.
I
Can you?
ask you to. You have.
Much better.
Is that much better?
That's much better.
Oh,
If you can just put the phone a bit away so that your whole face is, you can see your whole face. That's perfect.
but I will move. I will move around.
I know you cannot sit around for a
No,
long
it's
time.
impossible. Impossible. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm sitting in the gaming room. You see here.
I'm sitting in my rig, so maybe we should drive online as well.
Well, the thing is, we will not have a chance, so I don't want to beat you, and you will be sad, and it will be terrible.
We didn't even get started and it already started. I started to play actually Richard Burns Rally. You remember the
Yeah,
game from 15, 16 years back?
yeah, Oliver is very fast on that one.
I will beat him, no problem.
Good luck.
How
You
are
can
you?
try. Huh?
How are you?
I'm very good. I'm relaxing in my sofa in the gaming room.
Yeah.
Some memories and relaxing. Waiting for some more rallies.
Yeah. Like we all are. If it's okay with you, I would like to talk a little bit about your career and how everything has started, and then we move on to where we are now. And
Have we started already, or?
no, yeah, we are live, and there is 272 spectators at the minute seeing this. So,
Uh-huh.
so it's good that you didn't start with your few Finnish words.
No, no. I was planning to, but I didn't know, so
But
I know a little bit.
you know a little bit. I gave a nice warm up to the spectators watching your 2004 Ounin Pohja.
Ah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
It's
I
proper.
I admire Phil because he's absolutely flat out with notes all the time.
Yeah, but it's normal. If you are good, you are good. It doesn't matter. If not, he would not have been there. So it's very simple. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did it all start with your motorsport career? I know you did Rallycross first, but how did that start?
Well, you are starting far too late now with the
Well,
story.
I don't know the story, so that's why you can tell me that.
I can tell you the story.
Thank you.
So, my parents did. My parents did the autocross since '82, and every weekend 25, 26 races a year we did. We were sleeping in the tent or in the truck on every race, and then at the same time we did radio control cars. So I think it was 80 let me think now. 87, I was the youngest Norwegian champion in radio control car.
Okay.
Out of 85 drivers. And I was very small. I couldn't even lift the trophy at that time. And normally, if you take the radio control, a lot of the radio control car driving, I think that's where everything started from, because that's where we start to take the car to pieces. I took it in the shower with the toothbrush to wash it, clean it, completely naked, and make it as best as possible. And then already that time with the friction and lightweight and everything, we did everything. And then after winning that championship, we were starting to build cars, me and my brother. And because my father was a shit mechanic, really bad. And then after our garage back home, went to fire because he was outside welding, and me and my brother, I was maybe 10, and Henning was 12. We saw everything fire down, and all the races before that, it was terrible. They never won a race. He never came to the final. And me and my brother, we got so angry and fed up that we actually started to build cars for my parents.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we were self-learned to build engines and chassis and everything. And most cars, it was we were building Beetles, and we made 110 engines and 50 chassis in autocross for our parents. And now they won everything, and they had 500-600 trophies each, my parents, and they got actually into a very good success after that. And then also we couldn't get any more Beetle chassis, so we bought Fiat 650 and NSU, all the small cars that we put it in the Beetle engine and gearbox in. So it was much lighter, and it was, like back wheeling off the start line and everything. So autocross and radio control car was the main thing from our childhood, and we were dirty every day. Yeah,
So
every day.
So in a way, nothing has changed apart from that you could not take your rally car into shower, but all the doing everything into detail and really putting all the effort in developing the car has stayed from that moment on.
Honestly, it's crazy to think of, and yeah, it's scary because it comes with early age. A lot of the things that your parents can see how you are, basically. It's like my workshop side. We had a small workshop, me and my brother beside each other, and my workshop was always clean. I was finished very early with the car with my guys, because this was just a hobby, a lot of fun and just friends. And Henning was finished in the 1 hour before the start with the car, and the workshop looked shit and everything. It's a quite big difference on the side in the workshop, basically.
So
but Henning was fast.
And then when did you move to Rallycross yourself? What kicked off? Because was Henning driving Rallycross as well? Obviously, yes.
Yes. So I was first mechanic for my parents, and then I went mechanic for my brother.
Yeah.
And he did 1 year autocross first. And the day I was 18, so I got my driving license on a Friday. I was still 17, and on Saturday I did my first race on my 18th year's birthday, and I came third. And then I did 1 more race in autocross. I won it, and that's when I took over Escort Mark II. So I started hill climb and rallycross, and went to get 2 silver in that before I went up a class to the Volvo 240 that I still
that I remember.
I still have it in the museum.
Yeah.
I drove it last year.
Did you?
Tell you the story. Yeah. I can tell you the story. Later. And then, and of course, that Volvo, we built it on the farm, because we had a lot of animals, pigs, cows, horses, and the car was built actually in the farmhouse from scratch, every single detail. And to get the car to work very good off the start line, we changed all the foiling system many times, and differentials and weight distribution, and took I don't know how many starts outside the farmhouse, but that seems like I've been very good in rallycross after, because I won 19 out of 21 races the first year, and the year after I won 15 out of 19. So that car has actually been, very, very important for my brother's career and also my own career, basically,
Yeah.
But it was made in the farmhouse, from absolutely scratch.
Did you do also a lot of development work already then? What was possible at that time, or because you did everything in detail already then? So did you really put effort into trying stuff, and like you have been through your career?
Well, it's crazy when you look at the car on details.
Yeah.
It's incredible, for the weight distribution. I have the same rear diff in the Volvo there that as I have in my Escort now, the historic car.
Yeah.
Exactly the same ramps, same plates, same preload. Unbelievable. Not the same weight distribution, of course, because on the rallycross car I had 63.4% weight distribution to the rear, and it was 2.8 liter, 340 horsepower, get-track gearbox. But of course, we tried a lot of things on that car, you know. But I think the weight, drivability, because that time we used, you know, I gave up 40 horsepower in the engine because of getting the torque and drivability as the main thing of the start line, you know.
Yeah.
My car was 110 kilometers on first gear, huh? Just to
100
so 110 kilometers on first gear. So when everybody, that was a little bit of the trick we had in Rallycross also now, even the professional times, yeah.
Yeah.
I had a very long, okay, we started on the second gear, you know, but when everybody changed gears, you know, I was still continuing on the same gear, and then everybody's finished, you know. So it's a lot of tricks, lot of small details that is important, you know. But you know, you finish drivers, and the people are so good anyway, you know. So small country, and like countries like us need to be smarter than, you know, all the other big countries when we are fighting, you know.
Have you ever thought about being an engineer with all your knowledge and experience? And because I think you could be a really, really good engineer and designer even maybe of a car with your everything you know and can.
The thing is, it's very important to have good engineers around you, you know. The only thing I have is the experience and the common sense. I'm not saying everything is perfect, but you know, sometimes you have to go the wrong way to find the right way. And at the end of the day, it's all about, like I say, common sense, and the driver have a very, very good feeling. And the same with the Rallycross car, the DS3 Rallycross car I built. It was built in the workshop with some, you know, we didn't have any engineers at all, but it's only from the experience we had, and we made everything ourselves, except the engine and the gearbox, of course, you know. But the philosophy of the engine, we got it right.
Was the engine from Pipo to the DS3 or?
Pipo engine. I was the first one to build the Rallycross engine there, and actually the engine that Marcus Grönholm have now in his Hyundai is actually my engine that was for my Citroen. Because I started that project, but then I went to Volkswagen cars, you know. So
yeah.
But
how did you? What was your first rally car? Because I've been doing all these interviews I've been doing. I'm turning into a journalist nearly because I've been doing my homework. EWC, Wikipedia, talking with some guys, asking for questions. Your first race that I can find the result is to 96 Toyota Celica in Rally Sulor.
Yeah.
You were third. But there is a rumor that, did you crash Henning's, let me see, the question was, there was somewhere a question that you crashed Henning's car, 96, before, in the first race.
Let me tell you the story properly here first, yeah?
You go ahead.
Yeah. The thing is, after I was Norwegian champion in rally and rallycross, hill climb and rallycross. So in 95, I won the championship, both of them, and the same in 96. And then I got to offer to do the Renault Spider Cup in front of the Formula One races, yeah?
Yeah.
So I went to the test. I was second fastest, got the contract, and I didn't know what to do. Then I got, at the same time, offer from Martin Skanke to drive the Ford RS 200 in Rallycross.
Rallycross.
Yeah. So me and Martin Skanke in the same team, because Shell and Ford wanted me to have me in there. And but then I wanted to try rallying also first before I took a decision. So listen to this. So on a Wednesday, I took the decision to do a rally that should go on Saturday, yeah? But the car I want to buy was in Umeå in Sweden. So 950 kilometers from my hometown. Yeah? So I flew up to Umeå on a Wednesday, came there very late, and it was a Volvo 240 original, and I had some spares with me and 5 tires. So I took the car from Umeå, drove it the whole way down. I ended up having 5 punctures because I didn't have any normal road tires. It was only rally tires, and they exploded, on the way down. So it was, so I didn't have any more tires left when I came to the border. So when I came to the border, since it was Swedish number plates, on the Friday morning, I needed to get my brother's wife, who was Swedish, to come meet me at the border to drive it over to Norway. Got it back home, put on some stickers. I put it on the power steering on the car. I was finished on Saturday morning, and this was one of the biggest classes in Norway. Volvo Original was like,
Yeah.
a lot of good drivers and everything. And my brother's wife was planned to be she wanted to be a car driver because she was very good. She could read pace notes.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand pace notes at all. So Olaf Løne, who is the car driver for Mikkelsen, he tried to explain to me, Petter, 2 left is like this and 4 right is like this. I said, okay, forget it. There's no chance. But of course, I was a little bit cocky because driving is not the problem. I am 4-time Norwegian champion and in Rallycross and hill climb. So I went out there. It was 25 cars in the class, the Norwegian champion from the year before. Came 200 meters into the stage, and Henning's wife stopped reading. And I said, what's going on? No, and I can't do this. It's dangerous. Threw the pesos in the back. I went flat out to what I could see, and I ended up second place in the whole rally of the Volvo Original. So a Volvo 240 was my first rally car. And I sold it more than what I bought it for also,
Of course.
So, and then I borrowed my brother's 165. Because you have to remember that when I bought the Escort Mark II, I borrowed money from the bank.
Yeah.
When I got the Volvo 240, I borrowed money from the bank to get everything up and going. When I borrowed my brother's Celica 165, because then he got the 185, I haven't actually borrowed any more money. So I went out there. I was in front of my brother on the first race. I thought, this is not a problem. Flat out. Big accident, big accident. I jumped off from the car, run up to the forest. And of course, I came from Rallycross, so I forgot my car driver. So I have to run back again to pick up my car driver, to pull him out from the car. And that car was destroyed, was finished. So what I have to do then, to sell my Volvo 240, go to the bank to borrow even more money. And I had 15,000 euro in salary in a year as a painter, and it started to be a problem to get more money out. I needed, I don't know how you call it, but guarantees from friends and my parents. So then in 97, I won my first race with a 185 after I borrowed 50,000 euro or whatever.
Yeah. Then,
of course, won your first race. Now we have to increase. We have to go to the Toyota Celica 205. And then I went to the bank and I said, listen, I need 100,000 euro. I went with the suit. I tried, I'm a farmer boy, and I tried to make a suit, tie, look very professional. I remember it really well. And then the bank boss, he said, Petter, forget it. You have 15,000 euro in salary. And I said, you can get guarantee in the car, it's a valuable car. And he said, Petter, forget it. You need some more guarantees. So I went to my old boss. I went to all my friends. They signed the paper. Okay, if Petter get problem, we will pay.
Yeah.
Went back to the bank, borrowed 100,000 euro, and ready with the 205. But what I told the bank guy, you have to listen, I said. I'm gonna be the best. Trust me, you will get your money back, no problem. Oof, some big balls. I will never let anybody do what I did that time, to be honest with you, because it's risky. It's
No,
big risk.
no, but if you really believe in what you are doing, you take big risks, and not always,
Yeah.
but if you believe, you have a chance of making it.
Or you are stupid.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, it's this could have gone both ways. My parents had zero money, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely nothing, and 1 year also, just so you understand where I'm coming from, that
Yeah.
when I was 18, I need to borrow money from the bank to also save our family farm that time, because we have the fields and the corn, and it was a very bad year of the corn and stuff. And when you have to borrow money to get your father to keep the farm, to not lose it, it was tough times. But me and my brother, we were flat out. We were working on the farm, working on cars, and of course Henning was very good in school, and I was not. He had a different type of interest than me, so. But we have a very good childhood.
Yeah. You have always been very passionate about rally. What has rally given to you, before we continue with your career? But what has it given to you?
Well, the thing is, I could have ended up in the circuit racing also that time. You have to remember, this is just. It's just I was fast on tarmac that time, and I was good in Rallycross that time. So it's just that rallying was so spectacular. It was. You have to remember, in 96, 95, we went to Swedish Rally in a minivan, sleeping in the minivan. It was -20 with some friends. And we went out in the forest. And of course, that time, we had some fun and all. Came back, gonna sleep in this mini bus type we had. The whole bus was robbed. There was nothing left inside of it. So what do we do, And we had no money. We had no chance to do. So we went to Karlstad. We took the minibus. Okay, we drive to Karlstad. We have to find a solution, In some sort of way, we went to this after party, some place there on a Saturday. Then we met up with some people. And after that night, I had the sponsor. The marketing boss for Castrol was in the bar. And I ended up having Castrol as a sponsor, for the for the years to come, So I don't know. Things just happens many times in life, and I think for many young drivers, they just have to enjoy, have respect for the older generation, and a lot of friends, and I think have the smile that you love what you do. I think. A lot of these things are, it's hard work, If nobody's doing it for you, you have to find the solution yourself. And you have to remember, you in Finland have been very, very lucky that have a very good system,
Yeah.
I was the first one in Norway ever to come out in this. I had nobody to ask or do anything. But we have always been very, very jealous on the Finnish culture and the systematic how we make drivers and everything. So you guys should be very, very proud, for how you are working there, But it's not easy.
Has it now changed in Norway? Are there people now more giving advice to younger guys? Do younger guys ask questions from you, or have you tried to make them understand more of the importance of respect and ask?
It's a lot of prestige around there. I can't say that it's maybe the very young guys who have asked a lot, But when you're coming up to a little bit older, that is already in the sport a little bit, they know everything. So they are never asked. So, but I would help everybody if they just ask, show some passion, and I will help everybody.
Yeah, I think passion is the word that if you see the passion, you are ready to help anyone. That
Yeah,
as I've known you through the years.
100%,
Yeah.
100%, and that's what is coming back again. You know, friendship and a little bit smile and enjoy, and this I learned a lot from. You know, when I was with Colin McRae and also and these guys, you know, it's ending up friendship. You know, it's all about respect,
Yeah.
and they will help you.
Yeah.
And
That is true.
yeah.
98, you won Norwegian Championship. You drove rallies with few different co-drivers. But how did, after this year, you went to Ford? One question: how did this connection start? And then two: how did you get or choose Phil Mills as your co-driver?
Well, it's very interesting, yeah.
As always.
Yeah, well, you will not believe me, you know. But the thing is, so I was Norwegian champion, and many people loved my driving style that time. And then I was offered to came to Lebanon to drive a tarmac rally. I never done like a tarmac rally, so I went down there with my mechanics, and maybe I don't remember the direction here, you know, but I think after I won the Norwegian Championship, John Hoagland helped me a little bit. So what I did, I wrote a CV about myself. I made a film about myself from some of the rallies and stuff. I sent it to all the teams, factory teams, and I got 2 answers back again. And I got from Subaru that it looked very interesting, but they had all the drivers, so maybe we'll come back to you in the later year. And Ford invited me over to, and that was after Lebanon. So I sent already the film. So I went to Lebanon, and Mohammed bin Sulayem was driving there, and then I was fighting with Mohammed bin Sulayem. He won that race 10 times.
Yeah.
Then I was leading, and I had a puncture, and I parked the car up on the terrace on the house, you know, because I, you know, with the puncture, came back out again, went down because it was service on the road section, yeah, and I didn't have any parts, and Ford guys was there, you know, factory mechanics from Ford to help Mohammed bin Sulayem. So if you talk about never giving up, we took parts from every rental car I had to put it together. And there was one guy who drove a Celica 205. And he came over, Petter, you're so much better driver than me. So I give you my car parts and take it. I go in the bar, he said. I remember he was sponsored by Hesseröder beer. So he left his car. We took the parts. But listen to this story. This is crazy. To reach the stage, I need 200 kilometers average, yeah?
Yeah.
I tried, yeah. So I came on the long straight, and the car driver said, it will never work. So where is the stage? I said, you know, you should go straight, and you should go right and right again. So it must be up to the right here, then he said. Yeah, maybe. So I just break down, went straight over the field, forest, straight up the hill, up to, you know, where the mountain is. And the stage starts was there. And it was 26 seconds to go before I was out of the race. Went over the finish line. Came second, even with the puncture and all these problems that happened. And of course, I was so happy. So I took some donuts just after the finish line, you know, after the prize giving, and the gearbox broke. So this is where I think maybe everything happened, that you never give up. You try everything you can. And the Ford guys was there watching it. And I think the rumor came back to Ford with the film I already sent about myself. Then came to England, invited to do mechanical test, driving test with a Ford Escort. And Simon John Joseph was there as a driver, and quite a few others. And I beat all of them. And that's where I ended up with Ford.
Was Malcolm already? Malcolm was already then running the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And how did you choose Phil Mills? Was that something that came from Malcolm that you might need or you might want to have a UK co-driver or?
Because I didn't speak so very well English.
Yeah.
I thought I was good, but of course nobody understood what I said, you know. So to have any communication at all with the team, and he told me that you have to get rid of your car driver. He was Kato Menker, who is actually, he was very, very good. And it was between two co-drivers. And I met Phil Mills in the bar in England, and he looks like a normal English, yeah. Brown shoes, brown jacket, proper English, drinking tea with a little finger out and everything. And I thought he was looking boring, you know. He was 10 years older, and I thought, this will not be fun at all, I said, you know. He came in, and we started together. Most fantastic guy ever, you know.
Yeah.
Clever, you know, intelligent guy, respectful. And I remember the first word he learned me, it was fire extinguisher. I used 1 week to learn that word, fire extinguisher. It's still a problem, you know. Oh.
But those years, 99, wasn't those the years that you were driving the official car, obviously, but so the third or fourth car of the team. So if I'm correct, your job was to learn the rallies and get the experience.
I built the car myself in England with some of the mechanics there, and I did the Swedish rally with the Escort.
Yeah.
And then after that, they called me because that's when Thomas Rådström broke his leg.
Yeah.
So they called me from Kenya and said, Petter, get ready. You have to drive Safari Rally as the second car beside Colin. So it was a lot of things going around my head that time, you know. And because I started rallying, it was not late, you know, but compared with now, it's late. Mm-hmm. And I remember I went into Oslo, Gardermoen airport, parked outside the day before the flight went, was sleeping in the back of my car to not miss the plane. Went down there, did the shakedown, and I was very fast on the shakedown because, you know, normally I was a flat out guy, basically, you know. Mm-hmm. And Malcolm was so mad. I mean, incredible. And I came in from the shakedown quite happy, but the car looked very bad. With the TCA, steering arm bent, you know, bumpers, wings was hanging.
Oh.
And
there you are.
But at the end of the day, you know, he wanted to send me back home after the shakedown, you know. And I was crying and But that was the time when Colin McRae took me under his wings.
Yeah.
And was helping me to tackle situations like this much better, you know. So, yeah, I almost get stressed now when I talk about it because it was a stressful period, you know, because I didn't have any people around me or nothing, and until Colin, you know, took and supported me, it was much easier, you know. But
how important do you see as you said, you had no one. How important do you see, like, not maybe for Oliver because you are there, but for a driver who is doing the World Championship, to have someone to help and be there as mental support and also maybe as my work, what I'm doing? How important do you see that these days?
I think it's maybe one of the main things, you know. The thing is, everybody talk about driving most as possible all the time, but okay, it's right, you know. But with Oliver, you know, we are always, when we're testing everything, yeah. Inertia, weight distribution, you know, to understand. Because when you get the chance, you don't have many chances to show yourself. So you need to sort out the car in a very quick way. Oliver, I know his driving style very well. I know exactly what weight distribution he likes normally, if it's done in the correct way. I know his philosophy of driving. So as long as you have sorted out all these details with the differentials that he knows a lot about, and he have done this without knowing it over many years because of the cross kart and the Peugeot R2 and autocross he have done, and he have done a lot. And I think that is the main key, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
You go for a safety with the setup, or you go for performance. And at the end of the day, the driver needs just an easy car to drive, who's the main thing, not all the time performance setups.
Is Oliver as good in technical side as you are, or is he still learning? Obviously, you are talking a lot, as you said. You know his driving style outright. But is he still? He's so young. He can't have all the knowledge that you had maybe in your age, or how is he?
Or building cars and doing things, for sure. He's, I don't know. It's not working like that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the feeling of what he needs, of whatever differentials or like weight or inertia or whatever he needs, he can tell. He can sort out the car very quickly. But you always need the right people around you and the team and the respect,
Mm-hmm.
who's maybe the most difficult thing when you are so young.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's been working very good for him all the time. We have been a little bit lucky, I think, also that with the relationship and also you get respect for this, for what the speed you are doing also. So he has still a lot to learn, it's a hell of a lot. But at the same time, so far, the same philosophy that is used on the car in Rallycross car or in the R5 car or the WRC car is actually very, very similar, to be honest with you. Yeah.
So he knows what he wants. Your year 2000, your crash in Rally Finland, I had a look at it today, when you ended up in the lake.
I'm sure it was a co-driver mistake. I'm 100% sure. It's always
that's always a co-driver's mistake. That's true.
Yeah.
But that's also one of the most famous crash places you can have in Finland.
Yeah, I can tell you one thing. Okay, this is very serious. Remember, listen now. The thing is, I know this place very well, but on the recce, you went through that small village with and then you turn right with a big rock on the inside. Yeah. I remember. And then when you're coming up that small straight before that left, where I went in the ditch.
Yeah.
On the recce, it was full of trees.
I know.
In front of me.
And they disappeared.
And they took them away after the recce.
Yeah.
So I came there, and I didn't listen to all the co-drivers said all the time anyway, So I thought they went straight, so I came far too fast, And then Phil Mills, he can't even swim, so we landed down in the water, and it was a big ship, I tell you. So I flew up, came between the trees on the top, down the water, landed on the wheels, was on the way up to the main road again. But the trees was too narrow in the bottom compared with when I came in from the top, So I couldn't go through the trees. So they have to cut the trees to get the car up on the road again, So bloody hell,
And what was Malcolm saying then?
Oh, it was not about how me and Phil was. It was more about his
car.
How his car was, And same thing. I was crying again, Oh, hard life. But I deserved it for sure, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Malcolm was a fair guy, He was hard, but he's fair. And I have a big respect for him, for everything he's doing for motorsport in general, with everything he's doing.
Yeah, obviously, that's clear. Was this already the time of when you could say rally was your profession, so you got your earnings and everything paid, and you got paid for driving, or how was this time?
In Ford, no. I had my sponsors myself to pay for the flights, so I did economy class to every rally, New Zealand, 32 hours on economy class, and, don't worry, I was eating still cheap food and everything. So So actually, again, the sponsors is very, very important. I'm very thankful for what they did to follow me the whole way, you know, because a lot of the sponsors was with me since I started Rallycross in the 94, 5, and 6. You have to remember that followed the whole ride. So that time, you know, I still need to pay for hotels and flights and food, yeah, except the car.
Except the car. So you got to drive the car for free, but you had to pay your own costs and everything like that.
No problem.
Right.
If I have the sponsors and I have the chance, you know, you do whatever you can, you know, that's it.
Mid of or after Rally Finland, you then made the deal with Subaru. Did you approach them or did they approach you?
I had 2 offers. First time I said no.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. This is a story that I actually don't want to talk so much about.
Yeah.
You know.
Just tell me when you want to stop.
Yeah.
This story, not the interview.
No. So it was a little bit sad story at the end of the day, you know, but it was a tough time, you know. But the only thing I can say, it was no contract on the signed that I've been waiting for a long time and never got it. So I felt like I didn't have any other choices, you know. So we leave it like that. Everything went very, very well at the end.
Everything went really well at the end. You did first year you were 10th in overall points, and then 2002 you were second. Do you think that year you were driving your best of your career already then?
No, 2004 was my absolutely the best year I had as a driver.
Yeah.
Except for many other things that didn't work out in the right way, but 2004 was my absolute, yeah.
Yeah, because you were second after Loeb. You were fighting with Loeb really hard.
Yeah, but still that year was my best year. So in 2005, I didn't deserve the silver in the World Championship. In 2004, I believe I had control over everything. I won over 30 stage wins, more than Loeb.
Yeah.
I won 5 or 6 rallies, and then I was leading 4 others, but we had a flat radiator there that time that it destroyed in the water splash. And then I also, second time through the stages in Cyprus and Turkey, the sand came over the radiator. It was flat, and they got cooling problems. So if you ask me, 2004, it should have been my year, 100%. If the radiator was straight up and down, it would have been, I'm not saying easy, but we should also continue with that car for the next few years, you know, a little bit like Citron would have done. We would have been in a very different position.
Was that the S9 or S10 car that you're talking about?
S9 was the best car.
Yeah.
And last half of S10 was better than S9. So the last winning car with we used this S10 was in Sweden 2005. If we continue with the S10 for the whole season of 2005, everything would have been okay.
Yeah, because then you changed to S11, and we go to that in a short while.
No, it's coming to that point again. That I don't want to talk about S11 or S12 or B or whatever, because it's a tragedy. And
you know how many questions I have from these cars, because I've done few races with the S10 and I've done few races in the S11. And I don't want to make you upset, but
it depends what you have on the dampers, what dampers you use that time, and it's so many other things involved, you know.
Yeah. Sure.
But we had the dampers on the car. It was 710 slower per kilometer from me and Marco Martin and Pasi Hagström and everybody, you know.
Yeah.
Pasi Hagström knows all of it, and I tell you one thing, you will have no idea. And this is why, to come into stories like this, it's sad, basically, you know, and it's hard. And because if you know you could have continued with the S9 or the S10 all these years with Loeb or whatever, he would not have been world champion 9 times, I can tell you.
I
100% sure.
I believe you. I believe you.
Yeah.
2003, your first or your only World Rally Championship in rallying, your only World Rally Championship. What was the meaning? What was the feeling? Well, we all know what the feeling was, but going through the finish line in Wales, was that a dream come true?
Well, I must say, just so all of you understand that most my best friends and support, except for Colin McRae and stuff, is Finnish people, Finnish drivers.
Hmm.
And I mean, Finnish people generally, I maybe more Finnish friends than anything, through my career and also now. And the thing is the support and a gentleman like Juha Kankon was when I was teammate with him.
Yeah.
But also everybody can have an opinion about people, but Tommy Mäkinen, a 4-time world champion, he was so helpful for me. I learned so much. I was still young, you have to remember,
Hmm.
yeah?
Hmm.
And the respect I have for him, openness, friendship, and still a very, very good friend.
Hmm.
I must say that it's incredible. I never thought that should be possible, and this I've been taking with me since I had my Rallycross team with Johan Kristoffersen,
Hmm.
and that to see the passion and his smile running up to me when I came up to the finish line, and eyes don't lie, but Tommy Mäkinen was as happy as almost like he was when he was world champion himself.
Yeah.
And I think the friendship and the closeness and the joy we had together, it's hard to describe. I'm maybe more sensitive person than maybe Tommy Mäkinen. He maybe looks tough, but he's actually a soft and nice person.
Yeah, his.
And but I will never forget that time.
Mm.
It's something that you will never forget. I maybe don't remember so much when I was jumping around at the finish line there, and but also what happened in Norway that time, when the king and the prime minister and everybody stopped the football match to go back to look at the last stage, and they stopped the biggest football match in Norway. I won the most trophies out of sports people in Norway, the People's Prize, the Sports People's Prize, and it's still the most winning, from all categories. And you're proud, of course,
Mm.
And when you are first one in the country to do something like this, rallying is a big sport around the world. It's huge, but to also do that with the people that you looked up to.
Yeah.
I'm talking about 95, 96 here.
Yeah.
To go and look at Tommy Mäkinen freezing my balls off in one way, stole the whole thing, everything we had in the car, and then and ending up as a teammate and winning the world championship. You have to remember that whatever age you are, or people listening to what we talk about tonight, you just have to believe
Mm.
and enjoy what you do and take care of the people around you. And I think everything is possible.
Wise words. Listening to your talk about Colin and late Colin and Tommy, could we say that these two guys are one of the most important guys in your career, with one taking you under your wings and then the other one just being there as an experienced teammate and giving you a good teammate role and helping you through the years you were teammates?
Yeah, you have to remember that you meet a lot of people that is backstabbers, and they
Hmm.
are trying to be smart, and there's something against you when you talk to them, and then there's somebody else behind you. When you are not there, it's a fighting sport. But this was reality and true feelings that they want. So yeah, for me, they've been very, very good to me. But of course, when you're taking on the wings, even what happened with me and Malcolm, and he still took me in and made it possible for me to reach some place, and it's maybe people on one hand inside when you have been there who have made everything work really well for you, basically,
Yeah.
But before you came to be professional, it's hundreds of people, that make it possible, So things are changing with the career, but you should never forget where you're coming from and who have been actually the true strong people who actually meant to support you.
Yeah, it's a little bit like I've had in Finland with my background. There used to be people who were talking mostly shit, backstabbing you, and then when I start to be a little bit successful in Finland, suddenly they wanted to be my friends. But obviously I was not interested at all because I knew that they had been talking bullshit only. But that's another story. Obviously, we are not going to talk about S12, S12B, S14 because it brings back not so good memories. But after Subaru pulled out, you made your own team, 2009. Why did you choose Citron?
I tried the Peugeot
Mm-hmm.
307. The engine was very good. I had both cars on the test to compare. But no chance, to be honest with you. No, I can understand Marcus Grönholm, but the engine was fantastic, But
yeah.
No. But the thing is, I got if you just go back a few years, when maybe something could have changed in your career, I should have maybe got from the offer I got from Citroen in 2004 or 5 to go to Citroen.
So you got an offer from Citroen?
Yeah. And the only reason why I didn't go to Citroen that time, it's two reasons. One reason is because I had big respect for what Subaru have done for me and made a lot of promises to get back on track again. So it's respect,
Yeah.
And the second thing is that I was really afraid, though, that they wanted to just buy me to get control over me to help Loeb in the Citroen team with the French driver. So it was maybe a mistake. But
maybe.
Yeah. I want to beat Loeb, not to be there to support him, like maybe Sordo or whatever. But but then he's coming to doing it privately. It's like Tommy told me, and Petter, go to the beach, relax. You've done well in your career, but I'm not the same as Tommy, So I want to continue. So in 2009, I got offered to do Le Mans when I went to the test with Oreca and LMP1. So I was driving against Bruno Senna, Oliver Panis, Ivan Müller, Ortelli, a few other guys, and I was number 2 fastest out of everybody after one day of testing. So I got the contract and I said no. And they thought I was crazy because, all the guys who was there was after a contract.
Yeah.
But I wanted rallying, And the week after, I went to test Formula 1 for one day in Fiorano. That also went very well, but of course I was too old to to go into Formula 1. Well, maybe not when you look at Raikkonen now, so
maybe you should call them and I'm ready to come now.
Yeah, maybe now. Yeah. But that was the time also when, the year after, I think, when Kimi Raikkonen started to also do some rallying. So
yeah.
He was more in my truck than PH Sport truck, and Citroen truck, He owns me a lot of money from food, I think, because he was eating and drinking so much from my truck, But well, anyway, we had good fun. We had good fun. But Citroen was that maybe the car I want to drive at that time. It was good fun. And if you ask me about the Citroen, if you talk about Xara, incredible car.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah. Maybe the best car I ever driven. And still today is maybe one of the best cars I've been driven on tarmac is crazy. Honestly, I'm not joking. It's mad. The philosophy they had was one of the best. The C4, the year after also.
Mm-hmm.
But back to the story. Xara. So Subaru didn't want me to stop. They didn't want to be destroyed for my career or nothing. So they helped me a lot to actually get my team up and going. So the relationship we had together was incredible after so many years. At the same time, I tried to get the budget to buy the cars and get the running budget. I think I got 4 million euro in 3 weeks in sponsorship that I worked. I didn't sleep. I was flat out, I tell you. So I got in the budget, got the people, got the cars, got the trucks, everything in 3 weeks. I had everything up and going. So on the press conference in my hometown, I was finished taping the truck on the one side, when at the same time they were taping the other side when I had the press conference, you know. So it was a big turnaround. 2010, I was fast, very fast. So up to Greece, I was leading Greece with 50 seconds in front of Loeb. And had the most stage wins up to Greece that year.
Mm-hmm.
I lost the rally, and I didn't win a stage in the next 3 rallies. So if you're clever, you can take 1 + 1 is 2. So then that's it. Yeah.
I was looking at the results, and when you said 2004 was your best driving year, in a way I think this was not far off, I would say, of your best driving.
100% sure. It's not even doubt.
Yeah.
It was absolute my best. Maybe that year and 2010 was maybe my my best years. Yeah.
Yeah. Was FX, and for you who don't know, FX is a legendary engineer who came from Peugeot, and then you had a close relationship with him. Was he already then working? I think he was already working with Xara. With your,
From
in your
2009, he was working. He was employed on working for me.
And he was the brain that you said what you wanted, and then you together you made it happen. Because I remember watching your Finland test, and you were talking earlier about this weight distribution, how you want it for different rallies and maybe different stages and so on. And I remember watching you there. You were trying some different weight distributions, and
That's right.
I was already then, okay, I knew you since 2003, but I was still amazed of everything that you put into detail, and how I see even the works teams at times now who are not doing that kind of stuff. That you are pushing your guys and engineering, and that has been something that I've always admired in you, is that the will for win and the will to improve is just amazing.
But you need the right people around you to believe it and do together and try to get that feeling. But FX is as crazy as I am, you know. So and it's another guy also who was called Stefan Fonta. So and quite few more, but all us together got the unbelievable chassis, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And for sure it was better chassis than the factory cars, you know. But that was the only area we were in charge of. It was the chassis.
Yeah.
Engine and gearbox we couldn't do anything with.
Yeah. I think there's one engineer that I'm not feeling sorry for, but I think he lost all his hair that he has left when you were working with him, Pierre Genon.
Well, he's a world champion.
Yeah, he's a world champion. But I remember even one time, I think it was in Mexico, we were having a night out, and then somehow I think you got an idea of something that you wanted to try in the next test or something, and you saw Pierre over there, and he was quite in a, let's say, happy mood, and you wanted to tell him exactly what the idea you got. You wanted to make sure that he got the idea right there, right now. And he was like, I'm on holiday now, Petter. Come back to this the next day. But that's the way you have been.
it's never a holiday. You know that our sport is a holiday, and enjoy and the results coming together. You know, and okay, I know it's tough for many people, but this is how it is. You know, and you have to have your phone on all the time. You know.
Mm-hmm. I have my phone all the time on, but nobody's calling me anymore.
I just have to get my charger. You know.
No problem. We will wait.
You know, it's just 1 second here now.
Yeah.
You know, this is how professional drivers is now, yeah?
Hello.
Hey,
How are you doing, man?
good and you?
Fine, thank you. I'm having a good time talking to your dad, so we are...
Yeah, that's good. I bet it's a lot of histories.
I think it is a lot of history, yes.
But this is serious history. Oh, let me see. So here is Oliver's overalls from when he was from kid.
Okay.
This is up in his gaming room and stuff, you know.
I have a similar man cave here behind me, but there you can only see the green screen, but I have my overalls there behind me, so
That's good.
not as nice as that is, but still something. Maybe I'll need
Oliver.
to have Oliver later the year in this similar kind of, because I'm having Kalle also. I'm having all these people that I just know.
You know what you should do? You know
Yeah.
what you should do? You should put these two guys together in the interview.
Yeah.
Together. It can be really good fun.
Yeah.
For them to smile and okay, they have a lot of messages together and stuff, but I think that can be a really good fun thing, you know.
Yeah.
And then you can take me and Harvey on the late Saturday night, you know, together. you know, it's I maybe told you before, but maybe the viewers for you that Harry Romenpera was the guy who made Oliver to help Oliver to start rallying in Latvia.
Really?
It was Harry Romenpera who fixed everything for Oliver.
With the federation and stuff to get
With
the
the
permission.
federation and everything. That was Harry did it for Oliver, basically. So fantastic. I talk to him quite often, you know. Fantastic guy, and so
Harry will be my guest, I think, not next week, but I think the week after he will be my guest. I had Marcus last week.
oh, how was that then?
Yeah, it was good, but he was in a hurry because we agreed, like we did with you, that we start at 8 o'clock. Then he sent me a message 7:45 saying, how long will this take? I said, maybe 2 hours, something like that. Oh no, shit, I gave you 45 minutes. I said, you cannot inform me 15 minutes before we start that you have 45 minutes.
Grönholm is like that. He's always busy, but
Yeah.
he's a pensionist, you know, had nothing to do, and then he's always busy. You know,
But
it's
this
incredible.
time he had his engagement, 30-second engagement day, so I did forgive him, but we are going to do a second episode. But the whole interview was like, you know how he is, always in a rush. It was like Speedy Gonzalez.
In Monza Rally, he was sitting in my tent the whole race.
And not in a hurry.
No, stealing coffee and food, you know. No. This is what I'm saying. It's, you know, rally drivers in general. It's fantastic, you know, that, you know, it's enjoyable, whatever it is, you know. It's good fun together, you know.
It's a big family, and off the stages we are good friends, or friends at least, and then on the stages we are enemies. But I like the off stages mostly.
You're never enemies on the stages.
No, but you are still, in a way, fighting.
You are competing on just with yourself.
Yeah, true.
Yourself is the biggest enemy. The other guys are just a part of a puzzle, you know, and it's just up to yourself, you know.
Yeah, that is true. Let's get back to your career shortly. What happened in Portugal 2010 10, when Phil said to you he's going to stop, did he say it before that rally, or was that like a surprise?
For sure, it was a surprise. You know, it was a tough one. You know, that was hard. You know how hard it is to have a very, very good car driver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. First of all, you know, you have to have a car driver that is you can be with all the time. You know.
Yeah.
That is a nice person. He don't smell. You know. Yeah. No, but you know, when you are together so much, you know, everything has to be right. You know, you have to have a good humor. You know, like the same music as you know, like me and you know, Bee Gees, and you know, I don't know if he actually liked my music, but you know,
but he said he liked your music.
He was very gentleman in that area, you know. So when we went out for dinner, and you know, we choose together if you know you can never eat garlic alone, you know. So if you're gonna have garlic, both have to eat, you know. It's a lot of these things, and but of course it was like a shock, you know. It was not easy, but then I tried 4 different co-drivers.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and then I ended up with Chris Patterson, you know. So
how did you end up? What made the difference with? Because there was one Finnish guy at least in who you were trying.
The thing is, it's a lot of very good co-drivers around, but then you have these small details that comes back again to that, the feeling from your heart, yeah. And everything just worked, you know,
with an Irish guy, from a Welsh guy to an Irish guy.
Yeah, don't ask me why, but I had.
Why?
It was maybe one thing that he is irritating me with. Yeah, one thing. He was smelling cigarettes. That was the one thing.
Yeah.
But everything else, reading, writing, never complaining. Yeah, it was easy, and he was a light car driver also, you know. And we came third. We came third on the tarmac rally together straight away. The first rally together.
Yeah, so, in Bulgaria.
Yes. I didn't say Bulgaria because I didn't remember which rally it was.
Well, I have the results here in front of me, so you can trust on me. I'm looking.
Yeah.
Everything you say, I'm double checking from my results.
Yeah, you should do. Car drivers, they are. You need a big respect for them. You know, it's the same. You need respect both ways.
Yeah.
And when I had the chance, I paid them really well also, you know, to respect them and take care of them, you know. So I think Phil was one of the best paid car drivers when I was driving, you know.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit jealousy in service of some of the other drivers, you know, that but it doesn't matter, you know.
No.
You want everybody to be happy, you know.
Yeah. You drove 2011 with your own private team. Was that when did you start your team driving the Super 2000? Because I did one half day of testing in where was it, in France somewhere, when Flodin was driving. Was that running already then, the team? I can't remember the year. 2012 or 13 or.
You told me that you have everything there.
I know.
And I don't remember, so I rely on you now to know this stuff.
I don't have this. It doesn't say Petter Solberg made up his another team.
No, I don't remember. To be honest with you, I don't remember.
We leave it then.
It must be around 2010 maybe, I think, yeah.
No, 10 I was driving still for Tommy, so it must be 11 or 12. Well, it is what it is. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No, it is 2012, because 2013 you did Rallycross already in ERX, and you were doing.
Yeah, 13 I did Rallycross, yeah.
Yeah, you started Rallycross. But let's go back to 12. How did you end up back in M Sport?
You know, the other guests you have, are they laying down on the sofa or are they sitting professional in the
No,
seat? And
you can be as you want. You can even go into the sauna and be naked if you want.
that was almost what happened earlier, you know, because I forgot your interview. So luckily you sent a message.
Well, I know since over 15 years, so I knew I need to remind you.
What was the question?
How and why did you end up back in M Sport?
He needed a driver, and then we met up in the airport in England for a discussion. And actually, I don't want to go into detail, but I could have taken another decision to go somewhere else, you know, but
Where was it?
But I believed in this, and we had a dinner together up at this family with the lane, and it was nice, but I think we could have done even better. Just put a little bit more work, and it was actually a good year. It was together with Yari, Matti that time. That was the first time I was, starting to know Yari well, in the team. And Yari always needed the physio and massage very often, so it's
where in his head or body?
I think it was both, yeah. But we had a lot of fun together. He was incredible fast driver many times, incredible. Some of the stage times he did. And I mean, even when he was with Volkswagen, I mean, it's some stage times, it's just how he can do it, but if he can do it every stage, it would have been good. But some of them, we couldn't keep up at all, anyone, basically, So for sure, Yari always had something special when it coming to the maximum, speed, But
well, talking of Yari, just quickly, I think the news of him becoming the team boss of Toyota was a surprise to many. But how do you see Yari running the team?
Well,
after Tommy, it's not the easiest place to fill, maybe.
No, for sure, it's different personalities and stuff,
Yeah.
But the thing is, I think the decision, Kyle Lindstrom is, and the people he have with them. I know most of the guys really well, from friendship again. It's a lot of hardworking people that have a lot of experience there. So, and I think with Yari against the press and for the fans and for Japan, I think it's actually it was a good idea. Actually, when you start to think about it, I think it can work really well. He's a good front figure. He's good with history. You have a guy with a lot of respect. You have a lot of Toyotas himself. So I think a lot of these things are. It's actually, honestly, at the end of the day, it's actually a good idea. To be honest with you.
I would have wanted to hear the phone call when Ogier called Latvala for the first time, saying, "Mr. Team Principal, I'm very sorry. I just crashed our test car in pre-test for Monty."
We had, we were thinking about that before Monte Carlo, and then Yari is saying, yo, chat, we have some humor here, so sorry, Yari, if he's gonna listen to this, but anyway, I think when he's standing there in front of Yari and say, Ogier, and say, okay, now we just finished, be calm, no risks, nothing, At the end of the day, I think, many times to have a driver there that have a lot of experience, and for sure you have a good future with this to take care of the team and have a good vision together with Toyota from in Japan. I think it can work really well, to be honest with you.
2012 you were fifth in the points, and then Ford for now pulled out as an official manufacturer. But I think you were talking about 2013, but you didn't want to pay for the drive. Is this correct, or is this wrong information?
I think it was some situation in Welling there, you know, because it was something with Citroen again. It was a lot of things going on, and
but did the Ford pulling out, was it a surprise for you, or did you know it early to prepare for it? Can you remember?
Honestly, I don't remember at all.
No problem.
I don't remember at all. But then I was thinking, okay, let's. Then I heard a rumor that there will be World Championship in Rallycross, because I was not interested to do it if it was European Championship.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I went that direction. I got offered to do also Dakar 2 times.
Yeah, these are the questions people have been asking that I was coming on to later, but we can talk about it now. So 2 offers.
No, I got the offer from different type of sports, you know, in the World Championship also, but also Dakar. But when you have been selfish your whole life and then missed a big part of Oliver's childhood,
mm-hmm.
and then he have that passion he has, you know, then I'm actually saying no to almost everything, because I think, again, to be there for Oliver as a father, but also on the technical side to learn and have the trust and also do the mental thing that is right, you know, with the joy of it all. Mm-hmm. I think that's I maybe taken that as a more important thing. You know, I'm still young, you know, so I can go back to whatever I want of this Dakar when later, you know. So, but it's a decision I'm taking to, you know, I had a possibility for Extreme E now this year again. I could have done World Touring car, you know, it's so many things I could have done, but I have also heart, and I'm a guy with a lot of feelings, and mm-hmm. for me, Oliver is the main thing to be there for him now. You know, I'm sure it doesn't take too many years before he don't need me at all. So I would rather be there now to support him, and then I can do Dakar and all these things later, you know.
I think you have made the absolutely right decision. This is the time you want to enjoy with Oliver now, that you can still give him advice, and then later on you give him just support.
Yeah, I think, you know, the pushing he's doing himself with everything, you know. So mm-hmm. if you have a father pushing, don't worry. He's pushing much more than me, you know. I'm going to bed early at night, you know, because he's flat out every day, you know. So whatever it is. But you have to remember that I have respect for all the motorsport I've done in my life, you know. I've been lucky enough. So that's why I did a proper retirement plan year,
mm-hmm.
you know, not to just put out the press release. I did, you know, I did Gymkhana Grid, I did Goodwood,
mm-hmm.
and we did the Historic Sweden, and then we did, you know, Rally GB.
Yeah.
And to do that Rally GB with your son was very special.
Of course.
But the pressure from my side for Oliver, it's terrible to drive something at the same time as your son. You know, honestly it's impossible. And I think Oliver had the same the other way. So that was maybe the best learning curve for Oliver also, straight away with all the press and pressure.
Yeah.
Okay, I must admit that some of the stage times he did, you know, make me look stupid, you know, to be honest with you, because, okay, he wasn't on the road the whole time, but anyway, some of the stage times he did was unbelievable, and we see that from testing also when I've been testing with him that, okay, I can't keep up, but the experience of I think what he learned is to do a World Championship round compared with an Latvian rally or anything else. It is different.
Mm-hmm.
So, and to use this speed he's doing, you can do sometimes, but he was young and just turned 18, just got his driving license the week before. And it was a huge pressure for him.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think we learned from that. It fitted very well that I did my last race. Yeah.
I was there watching the shakedown for GB, and I could see the passion in both of you. But the only difference I could see was that you were running around everywhere, talking to the engineers and the mechanics, and Oliver was more like, "Oh yeah, that's Dad. Let him do his. Even if I tell him what, he's still gonna do it. So I'm just gonna stand here with my co-driver and wait for my dad to do everything, and then we go out and try it again."
All of his cars were ready. It was done a proper test, and everything was absolutely ready for him. Yeah. With me, I got the car on the Monday on the shakedown day to try it, and then it was not set up right, to compare where I wanted it. So we have to find all these details and then I measured on Oliver's car to put the correct over to my car because it was Volkswagen guys, because I knew Oliver's car was, it was very nice to drive,
Mm-hmm.
and it's coming down to details again, and so I always said that Oliver had a much better car than me. I said, whatever happens, you need all the excuses you can,
Of course, that's the way we live.
But it's incredible, to end your career in Rally GB, where you actually won your first race, and winning my class. Okay, Kalle won the WRC2 or total, but winning my class was, I mean, you can never ever get a better ending,
Yeah, to win a
or
rally.
anything. It's absolutely crazy, huh?
Yeah.
I won everything I started in my retirement year, Gymkhana, Swedish Rally, Goodwood, and GB in my class.
Yeah. Then you won also.
I think about that, the first stage of Rally GB.
Ah, yeah.
Hey, is that crazy or not?
No, yeah.
Look at the overall. You can just go in, just have a look at the overall on the first stage.
Yeah, let me have a look.
And that was even with a problem with the car on the first 200 meters.
Was it Alton Park?
Yeah.
Yeah. Third overall.
Third?
Third overall. I remember that because I was there.
But you know what I mean,
Yeah.
You can think about the dream scenario, and you're coming in for fun. Okay, the weather changed and everything, but it's still third. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
You lost 3.3 seconds to Chris Meek.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember being in the service park, and the whole service park went like, "Whoa!" He's back.
Yeah, but it's mad.
Mr. Hollywood is back.
What the story, this is how, that's what we do this. It's making stories and joy for many people that follow motorsport,
Yeah.
So.
Well, this is what you have always been good in your career, looking after the fans, being the showman, great showman, Mr. Hollywood, as you are always called. But that's also important. That's also
I'm just
important.
being myself.
Exactly.
It's no plan or no strategy.
No, I know.
And just having fun,
Was it also part of the plan when you dropped out of the car 2008?
No, exactly. I'm being myself, and it was a big shit, I broke my hand.
I know.
I broke my hand, and I still was driving for 10 more minutes after, huh? It hurt. But it was a good show, though.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about Rallycross shortly. You were twice world champion. And then you made the works team with Volkswagen.
Well, it was not the works. It was my team. So they just supported.
They just supported. Okay.
Just supported my team.
But it was built from the 17 specification World Rally car, wasn't it? The cars.
No.
No.
It was no. It was the 14-15 car.
14, 15 car. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
And then we added some new things, but it was not so fast on the first test because I got my car from Argentina,
Mm-hmm.
back again at the same test, and it was far behind. And that's when we took my car down to Germany, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, we copy a lot of the things, and because there's a lot of small tricks you have to remember.
Yeah.
That you need in Rallycross with the car. And this car I have, it was built in my workshop, and we have done all the things you can dream about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's coming down to details. And we got the Polo very good together with FX and also Fabrice, who was my guy, Van Wertel, and
You had one engine guy that used to work with me, Phil.
yes,
He's a nice guy as well.
he was in Subaru early days, and
Yeah.
the understanding of launch and data and mapping.
Yeah.
Because you have to remember that I was maybe the only guy who drove with lightweight flywheel and lightweight brakes and different clutch and all these things that is maybe making very difficult for engineers to map to get a good launch, because normally everybody put heavy flywheel on,
Mm-hmm.
to get a good launch, but I did the opposite. But it takes a little bit more work, and on the Polo it was even lighter than mine again, so it's needed even more work. So the only thing we worked on was to get a bigger safety window of the chassis for conditions
Mm-hmm.
and the launch, like my car was basically. So we didn't do anything for more performance, it's just to get the bigger window to have it safer, that you can do 10 out of 10 starts exactly the same and stuff like that,
Yeah. What was the most important thing that you focused on in development work in Rallycross? Was it not only the starts, but then was it drivability? Because the cars had mega power. So obviously you were only looking for traction. But looking at the cars, they always seemed quite stiff and quite low with the ride height. But was it something that you just tried to be as low as you could and have the weight? How was your weight distribution in Rallycross?
I will not tell you anything.
I'm
about
trying to get all the information.
this is top secret, everything. But the
Is it
thing
top-
is, the main.
Is it top secret because you're still planning to come back?
No, I'm just saying that some of the things that I used a long time with all my people and developing and everything, it's it takes time,
Yeah.
But when you have got it, you can transform this to any other car, basically, It's all about philosophy, and from 0 to 200 is the main thing,
Yeah.
basically. And you have to choose the corners where you can take the most time on the track, and forget about how it is on some other corners, but where can you gain the most time? And it's just a small example that in Buxtehude in Germany, you have 100 meters with gravel on the jockey lap.
Mm-hmm.
And the closest to me was there, it was Ekström with 9/10. The rest was 1 and 1.5 seconds after. And this is 100 meters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So just you want the fastest car, and not only on 1 lap, you want the fastest car on 4 laps.
Yeah,
This is also a big difference.
Yeah. How was it to race after driving alone with your co-driver for years? How was it to drive against 4 or 5 guys or 6 guys, 5 guys? Was it a shock in the first races, or was it just like, I know this, I've been here before? This is
No, the
nothing
first
new.
year was we had I made the car so extreme, and that's maybe one of the best cars I made was the first year, but it was not properly legal, so and it was not reliable either, But well, when the rules start to come together properly, so it was more serious from FIA and everything, then we understand that it was not correct how we have done it, So we needed, a lot of changes,
Mm-hmm.
And but the cars, the reliability was, I made it so extreme everywhere, And then we made a new car over the winter. It was maybe not as good to drive because it was legal. and then when you had something that, it's like active differentials, When you have active differentials, you know what you can make it into mechanical diffs, and then you have more understanding,
Mm-hmm.
So when you have something is good, you have to replicate the same thing in a different way after, basically. So we got the car very nice to drive, very easy to drive, and but like now I'm rebuilding all the cars in the workshop, so we already done some small changes on it, and we will see.
You know what? If you would not be doing the rally career you have done and what you are doing now, you should maybe make a private school of how to be an engineer or how to be a rally driver, and it would be a successful school.
Well, first of all, who will listen?
I
that's
would.
the other thing.
I would.
The thing
and
is,
there is a lot of people listening to you now, so.
The thing is very, very important is that if you want to help or do something for somebody,
mm-hmm.
they need to have the same motivation about doing it properly.
Yeah.
To do something 100% is no point. You need 110% all the time. Then you will have a chance to win easier,
Mm.
But it takes a lot of work, a lot of details, and first of all, second thing that you have to understand it. But the passion of doing it, is the main thing,
Yeah.
So if, for example, Oliver doesn't have the passion, I will not help. But he is more than me with everything. So then you get more respect also at the same time.
Yeah, I think there is also another word or another important part is passion is one, but then also it needs to be fun. Because if you don't have fun doing your work or your driving, nothing will work.
No.
And that's also with Gus, that I work with him very deeply. And his father has always told him that we can stop tomorrow if you stop having fun. Or we will stop.
The fun is important, but it's also, when you talk about fitness, the pace notes, and I'm sure a lot of discussion about my pace notes has always been, and there was already a discussion with Oliver's pace notes. But I tell you one thing, that as long as you can understand the details when you're coming to new roads, because when you are young like that, you need more precision and detail with everything. You don't have so many chances like all the other old drivers that have the experience for many rallies. They're coming the first time. It has to be right very, very quickly. So the pace notes is built on basically that they are going to be fast on the first run. Oliver look on board to check his pace note one time. That's it.
Yeah.
He's never look at the pace notes anything more.
Yeah.
And I told him that all the time. If you can't drive on the pace notes that you're writing how the road is, it's no point. And if the core driver is not good enough to read it like that, you need to change core driver to find one who's actually, who wants to do it. But now we have tried 4 or 5 core drivers already. So, and all of them read it. So it's maybe not enough information in them,
I think you had with Tommy, you had this competition. And I think in Monte Carlo, you had 29 words for one corner.
No.
It was Kai told me this. Hey, Phil sent a message to Kai saying, we beat your record. We have 28 or 29 words for one corner.
No, Kai Lindstrom is bullshitting you now, guarantee you.
No, but even I remember 2012 Rally Finland. I drove few stages with your notes with Stiddy, and I don't remember the stage, but there was like a 500-meter straight, and everything always started with the left 6 tightens to something. And for me, it would have been 500 left 3 Titans, 50 slot 2 right or something. And your
I'm
was
not using left first. I'm using the number first.
yeah, six left. 6 left Titans, 4 opens, half long Titans, 4 Titans, 2 Titans, 1. And I looked at Steedy when he called the notes and I said, "What is this? This must be something fucking extraordinary from a world champion. I would have left 3 Titans."
Yeah. But the thing is, it depends on how fast you can go. Is your eyes who deciding the pace notes, and
Yeah.
when you're coming in the speed, you have to write exactly the first thing you see.
Yeah.
You have to write everything down to the apex. What's happening at apex? What's happening just after apex?
Yeah. And you did that.
Yeah, but Oliver is worse than me.
Is he?
Yeah.
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 It's more perfectionized, you know.
Perfectionized.
Perfectionized. Is that even a word?
No, that's some word of Oliver Solberg.
Yeah, he say that he's much better than you on
Can you
Richard
see me
Burns.
now?
Yeah.
I can hear you and I can see you.
Yeah, he's much better on Richard Burns, he said.
Are you better than me?
I started to play it yesterday, so I will challenge you maybe in 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah, 6. Okay, now we're talking. Hey, Oliver, he said also that he was better than me also, yeah. So,
Petter is easy. Petter is easy to beat. That's no problem.
You know what? Hey, listen to this. You know what OGS told Oliver in Finland now?
No.
Because they were driving together all the time, basically, yeah?
Yeah.
So OGS came out, Oliver, Oliver, first of all, you young kids, you and Kalle, you don't respect us older world champions,
Mm-hmm.
You have no respect for us anymore. And Oliver said, yeah, respect, yeah. But doesn't feel like that, when you're driving. And then he said, by the way, Oliver, I can tell you one thing. That when I was driving against your dad, I had the edge on him. I always felt that I had the edge on your father. But with you, young kids, I don't have a clue anymore, he said, It's unbelievable. And I would Jerry is a very nice guy to these young kids. He's good fun and really, it's really positive,
Yeah. And he's a nice guy overall. I had the chance to work a little bit with him as well. So he's a mega guy.
He's professional. He is motivated, and he's doing everything he can. And the same as co-driver also. It's
yeah,
it's good.
I have questions from the spectators. A lot of questions. I'm gonna take maybe 20 out of them. Let's see how long you have time. But what's the best memory and what's the scariest memory you have in rallying in your career?
Oh, best memory in rallying.
I'm becoming a journalist.
I have a lot of good memories,
One.
I must say it's world champion is the world champion when I won in GB. It's easy to say, but let me take another one.
Please.
Because that must have been after a crash in Germany. It was this most scary crash that you can have. And you remember the car?
Yeah.
When Phil came to hospital, I came up there. It was yellow, blue, and red and everything. And I said, we're going to Japan in 5 days for the first World Championship round with Subaru in Japan. Are you ready? Or shall I find another car driver? And he was full of morphine. Yeah, I know, no problem. I'm fantastic. I'm ready. And he was full of morphine, And we came down there nervous. Maybe you can check, but I think I won this first stage.
You did.
In Japan with 12 or 15 seconds in front of Loeb. Maybe you know that better.
Let me check.
And winning Rally Japan that time with Subaru, with the president of Fuji Heavy Industries and everything.
10 seconds.
Yeah. It was incredible. And a memory like that after a big accident and winning all the next 3 World Championship rounds, this is maybe after my biggest accident ever, basically,
Yeah.
your head has to come to right very quickly, and even for your co-driver. So, and I think that is something that then it's hard to forget.
Have you ever been scared in a rally car? Was Germany something that? Okay, there's not time to really think anything. You know how.
I can tell you one time I know very well. I was scared when Chris Patterson drove the last stage in Raleigh, Sweden, when I was co-driver. I almost shit myself. Honestly, that was unbelievable. That is something that I don't want anybody to, Oof.
Was it that bad?
That was hard. I went to 35th place in one stage, Incredible.
Did you read pace notes to him, or was he just driving?
I tried to help him, but he got so angry at me, I tried to help him to give throttle and now change gear and everything. He got, Peter, shut up, he said, So it's unbelievable.
I need to find that video, and we need to watch it later with the spectators. What has rally given you, and what has it taken away from you? If it has taken anything away from you.
That is a very deep question.
I know. I'm going into the deep end now.
Oh, this can't be from you. This can't be from you.
No, this is from my girlfriend.
Okay. Oh. Well, to be honest with you, it's just given me a lot of new friends, seen the world, giving me something that I never thought was possible in life. That from Norway, that everybody told me that nobody will come into the World Championship in rallying, and never forget it, You dream too much, it's no chance, And I think it's in the driving itself is one thing, but everything around it, the joy and friendship and meeting new characters, and I think that is maybe that's maybe what give you the smile, for all the memories,
I think one thing also is the chance to see the world, because if you think the places you have been, if I have been to places, you have been to many more places than I think. Would you have ever gone to El Condor in Argentina if you would have done rallying? No.
But what a place.
What a place.
Yeah.
That is an amazing place.
But even on TV, it looks incredible. Huh? Even on the game, when we're driving the game,
And even because the spectators, I did the recce there 2 years ago, was the last time we were there. And they are queuing there for over a week.
And barbecuing.
There. I had a friend, it was 5 friends of them, 5 guys, and they had 5 kilos of meat. I don't remember how many beers and what they had, but they were only eating meat, a barbecue, for 5 days.
Yeah.
Just staying there and waiting for the rally.
Unbelievable.
It's something you don't get to see very often.
And also another thing, when you talk about memory, is Safari Rally, and that's coming back again for this year. And if we can,
very different to what it was then.
Of course, but it's still,
still Safari.
It's still Safari, and it will be a memory for life,
Yeah, surely. Next question. What's your favorite stage in Rally Finland? Well, I know what you're going to say.
Well, for sure, Orienpoe is incredible. But, also have to remember that I think it was 2002 when it was a second or two between me and Richard Burns.
Yeah.
And I took him at the end there, and it was
Moxilastu.
And I think it was the last stage in 2002 in Rally Finland, and I took him.
Kruununperä.
Yeah, honestly, that was incredible. I was absolutely flat out, and And I remember I was parking behind the bench before the stage start, but he didn't want to talk to me, But the thing is, I didn't think about things like that,
Yeah.
I just drove, and that is, okay. I was second in the rally, but still, I was so happy for, you know, the competition, the achievement. Whatever fight it would have been, that would have been it's a good kick. It felt like a victory.
Have you been in a place that you needed to do sacrifices for your career? This is now from me.
Say that one more time.
Have you been forced to do sacrifices for your career because of what you have chosen to do?
For sure you do. If you're doing a sport, you do it properly. If you ask me to cut a finger to do my sport, I will do it to make it lightweight, If you ask me to shave my legs or what, I will do it. Somebody told me, Petter, you have to train much harder than what you do, and you have to reach this goal. And I went down to 6.5 in fat percent, so I got sick. So I pushed the limit all the time. But I've been so selfish with everything I've done, and I've it sounds strange, but everything is coming second and third to whatever my goal was for my rallying. When you're in there, you have to give it all. When you come in, that's when the hard work starts.
Yeah.
So forget birthdays and weddings or Valentine's Day or whatever, You're all in. When you have time, then you give to everybody else. But everybody understood me and everything. They respected it, but everybody tried to maybe that time to change their wedding or their birthday parties or whatever when I was off.
Yeah.
So all in or nothing.
Yeah. And then you give it.
It sounds selfish, but I'm a crazy guy. Just to let you know, when I'm going for something,
I know.
I'm going. Yeah.
I know. I remember seeing when we were visiting your place when we did this one tire test, and we were in your fitness room, and I saw some papers, or you showed your training papers, old from Subaru time, and they were just. I've been training hard in my career and still do, but some of the trainings that you had there were just mad.
It was hard, but honestly, it was the best thing because I didn't come from any family that was. My father is a truck driver, and my mother was a truck driver, and we had, it was not like coming from any fitness family, And this was a very eye opener for me that time, but I needed guidelines and help to, first of all, to get up to a certain level, so you got the motivation to go to the next one,
Yeah.
But the hardest part was to come to the first level, and then after that it was much easier. But I must say I worked hard the first part of my career to get up to level.
Is Oliver training hard physically now? Are you pushing him, or you don't need to push him? He knows that he needs to be in top form, or?
Well, he is a very good runner, but you have to remember he's 59 kilos.
I'm not the
So behind the
guy.
So behind a pole you could see only his ears because there's
it's
no
not
muscle.
like my brother and me. So I think he don't have it from the Solbergin family. He had it from the Valfridsson family. This part, But Oliver understand that this is very important, and when you have the chance you've got now, you have to do whatever you can, but do it with fun. It's so many exercises you can do with fun, And if you're getting into this completely structure, it's crazy, but you have so many things you can have for fun now to get fitness into it, and boxing and quad biking and snow scooter, ice hockey. He loves ice hockey, Oliver. And
I will beat him in that as well. No problem.
Well, He's 59 kilos. You can just blow at him and he will fall down. So I don't think that's any problem. But he's enjoying it anyway. Yeah. Well, big ice hockey fan. We have been to a lot of ice hockey matches in Canada and America and different places, for when we have gone to. But Finland is not so bad in ice hockey, are they?
No, they are a lot better than Norway, at least.
Yeah, Norway is fantastic.
Fantastic.
Was a joke. Yeah.
I know. You have one good player. He's in NHL.
Zuccarello.
Yeah, but he's been playing really badly this year for some reason.
Oh, last few weeks, so he was the best player in the whole thing last week, I think. Yeah.
Ah, okay. So he's coming back to form.
Yeah.
Few nice memories. The Corsica crash and then the win.
Nice memories. It was a terrible memory.
No, but to win was a nice memory. After I could see the car in the in shakedown, I didn't believe that you would even start the rally. Did you believe that you would start the rally?
No chance. But you get very humble after that against your mechanics and the team bosses and everybody. So, and I can tell you so much that I paid for everything that night. After the rally when we won it, it was open bar and everything. So don't worry. Yeah, I take care of my people when they're going well. And
yeah, I know that.
Yeah,
I know that. What rally was it when the steering wheel got loose? But I think
Greece.
Was it? Did you still do the fastest time? Second fastest. That was just I did watch that earlier today, and that is just amazing because you're just.
Some rules are changed after that. To be honest with you, to not take your seatbelt off because when you don't see everything, because I asked Phil to get the tools.
Yeah, he had to open his.
He took off the seatbelt and they were behind the seat, so he was sitting on the knees in the seat. Yeah, take off the tools from behind, sat down, opened this. You know how it is.
Yeah.
You open it, the roll, took the tools, tried to tighten it, but it was all the small bolts. It was not the center bolt, but we were second fastest. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
That is just.
Phil is cool, but the shit, I need to ask him twice to do it. But,
I remember.
Yeah.
Because first he didn't do anything. He was just reading his notes.
Terrible.
Best team boss in your career?
Everybody's different. I respect all of them for what they do and how they do things.
Mm-hmm.
But if you combine a little bit from all of them, you can get a really incredible team boss.
What would you take from whom? Let's say Lappy, Malcolm. Who else?
No, now you're going into too much details. Just leave it like that,
I'm trying. I'm pushing the limits as you have always been pushing the limits.
Yeah, but they are all good. Big respect for to get to run a rally team under Okay, let me say it like this: what is everybody should respect is actually Malcolm for keeping in the sport for so long time in ups and downs, and always find solutions. And he needs some respect for that because he have helped so many people to keep this rallying going when there have been tough times. So, and I think he's a hard man. You can have a lot of passion for it,
Yeah. There is a lot of passion. I had a nice chat with, been working in the team that Malcolm obviously owns and is running for many years, and the passion is still there. The will to win is still there. You can clearly see it, and I feel bad for him for having to make so many people redundant of this, what they are suffering.
Sure.
But they are still fighting.
It looks interesting for next year. I think next year they will be hard. They will be tough. And
I saw in Twitter today that they started the engine already last Friday.
Yeah, I think honestly it looks like Ford was more involved also because I saw
Yeah.
Ford performance. I put it out a lot. So yeah. Hopefully that will be a very, very good package.
Is there going to be a Solberg in the Ford next year?
Maybe Henning again, you know, you never know.
I'm trying my best.
Yeah.
What would you say to the 18-year-old Petter if you would now have him there next to you? He was starting his career. Would you have done something different? What advice would you give him? Not to Oliver, to young Petter.
No, honestly, then it's like I told you before. The only thing that I can tell people, or to myself that time, is to still work hard on sponsor, to understand the marketing is very important. To if you're going to get driving, you need to work on sponsors, and you need to have give them a lot of work back again. The second thing is that you need to have somebody to support you for the driving, to help you to analyze it and do the right choices, you know, with the closest people around you. So, but for sure, you know, I remember when I was 18 myself, you know, I think it was 19. I had €1,000 that I have had in my bank account. I used all the money to make. I still have it, yeah.
€1,000, you mean?
€1,000 that I used onto making a brochure with the visit card and pictures and my goal and what they can get back, but in a very, very nice material stuff that time, you know. So I used everything I had to try to get the sponsoring, because more sponsoring I could get, more I could drive. But at the end of the day, you know, you will never have enough anyway. But I did everything I could, and with some help from the bank, you know, I could do even more. So honestly, I can tell you one thing. When I went to the bank and borrowed the money,
yeah,
I even got a deal that I got a free. Hva heter det? Rente, Oliver?
Free rent? No, free... I like it.
What is it when you borrow money? You have to pay back 5% or 2%, 3%?
Interest rate.
Yeah, I got that. I got free interest also. So at the end of the day, it was a good deal.
Surely.
I can tell you one more story about the sponsoring, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just how many stories you want to tell? We are going to listen.
No. It's just for the young guys to understand how I worked, you know.
Yeah.
So many times I went to sponsors that, you know, they said, we can't sponsor you, Petter. No, but I'm not asking for sponsorship. I just, you know, I don't want any money direct from you or nothing. But I put on a sticker on the car if you can pay 4 tires for me, I said, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's different. Oh, yeah. Because then, so if I ask for €2,000, and they said no, and then I asked for them to pay 4 tires, and they said yes. So that was actually €2,000 plus 23% tax. So actually, I earned even more on doing that, you know. And the other sponsor I went to, I came in there. Hello, I'm Petter Solberg. I'm going to be the best in the world, you know. Yeah, I heard that before from many people. Yeah, but I mean it. But I don't want to sponsor you, Petter. No. But just give me batteries, I said, you know.
Yeah.
So I came out from the meeting, and this was in Oslo, you know. So it was, you know, bigger than getting sponsorship from a hometown, you know, from the local bakery or homeopath or anything, you know. So I came out there with batteries for €1,500. The whole car was full of batteries. I went back home to my hometown, went around to every farm, and I sold all the batteries for €3,000. So I doubled my money, you know, that time. So I actually ended up with €3,000 in sponsorship, you know. So it's many ways of doing things, and still this sponsor that paid me batteries, you know, just give me free batteries. this was a sponsor that put it in, 30,000 euro for 2-3 years after,
Mm-hmm.
So, that sometimes you have to be humble and be very small and get them to be a part of your journey.
Yeah, exactly.
It's adventure trip, basically, It's not that you're going to win the year after, but okay, you do it, you are lucky, but still it's a trip,
Yeah, and I think companies also want to be part of these journeys or something that when they see passion or they see a good driver and they see a start of a story, it's also good for their marketing to be involved in something positive that is building.
Yeah.
Then you want to support it. It's quite
But now
clear.
I'm talking about the young guys that may
Yeah,
be
yeah.
listening here.
Yeah, I know.
that it's you need to, if it's 100 euro, 500 euro, that can end up like 30,000 euro, So
Yeah.
sometimes small is, and you have to give quite a lot back again. It can turn around in a couple of 3 years.
What other advice would you give to young guys that are listening this interview? What do you? We have passion and be humble and work hard, but is there something else that you would give as an advice to guys who are thinking of dreaming of becoming a rally driver?
Yeah, it's you have to learn the sponsoring thing.
Mm-hmm.
You also need to learn, that I think is more and more important now, is to learn the technical side a little bit. It's like I started with autocross. We learned a lot there, but things are changing. And I can take example also when I did Rallycross. I was the first one to start with the rear ring. I bought some F3 parts. It was destroyed. I cut each side, put it on the back with the side plates on. It looks really cool. But at the end of the day, it's when you learn now, it must have been working really well that time. But I didn't have a clue. I just did it because it was cool. But it's actually giving hell of a downforce, So what you learn through your career by trying, it's huge effects, So never be afraid of trying things. The thing is, sometimes, it can work without even thinking about it, and ask questions, ask people more questions until you get fed up with you. That's what I did with many people, asking a lot of questions until they were fed up, Colin McRae was mad at me when I asked him questions,
Yeah.
He told me to run away, walk away. I haven't got enough. And I walked away for 5 minutes. I came back again, and then I asked again, So.
And that's also something I've tried to teach the young guys. This ask questions when they are in rallies, to listen to more experienced drivers and not necessarily take everything in, but listen and then decide what you think is important and what might help your driving or whatever approach. Never turn a back on anyone who is talking, but don't take everything aboard that they are talking, because they might also be giving you shit in a way, at least in Finland.
Maybe, but the thing is that one thing I have learned is that always tell the truth.
Yeah.
Because people don't believe you anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So every time I say exactly what it is,
you won't believe. They
don't believe anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I have told them anyway. So it's honest, and I think to the other kids also, honesty is a very, very important thing. Very, very important to be honest, and it will help you through life, much, much easier.
Yeah, that is true. Few things I would want to talk about Oliver. Obviously, I know how proud dad, and you can, when all the time you talk about it, I can see in your face how proud you are of what he's doing. But I did send you a few messages during Arctic Rally because he absolutely surprised, I think, everyone. Did he surprise you as well?
You have to remember, me and Pernilla was the first one to say that he shouldn't do the rally. And we even said no to Hyundai, yeah?
Really?
Yeah. Because saying yes to everything is not a good idea, And when you're gonna, when you're gonna do things, And you want to plan, you want to be sure that you have tested enough and they got your driving style. It's not like how you drive a Tanax or a wheel setup and just drive with it. You know, you should be, if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for you. But
Mhm.
it doesn't work like that, you know.
Mhm.
I mean that any new car always coming with in mid or driving,
Mhm.
you need minimum 2 days. And 3 days, then I'm happy. Then we have got everything right and tested everything. It doesn't matter which car it is. I can fix a car in 2 days. And if it's some fine tuning, we add another half a day, for example, you know. But one day, it starts to be a little bit busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with the WRC car, and okay, now it was also the core driver, so everything was a little bit on question mark in general. But well, he didn't actually have a full day either testing, you know, because we lost 2 hours in the midday because of and small thing. But so our expectation was nothing. I know when you get time in the car and you will learn the aerodynamic, and on the test the road was a little bit too slow. It was not like a high speed corners to really use the aerodynamic. And luckily on the shakedown he got a little bit time there to learn feel the aerodynamic better than he had on the test. So the expectations was not up in the air. I know he can drive fast in a Rallycross car and 600 horsepower and he'll come either. But this is rallying is different, you know. And well, I must say, because we did a big setup change of his car before shakedown,
Just like his dad.
With the philosophy again, yeah. But Oliver always decide.
Yeah.
I never decide anything with the car. I come with suggestion. He always have the last word. And it worked. And for sure, he did the first stage. He stalled on the start line, and then he spun. I think not spun. He went straight in one place in the first stage where Rovenpera also went wide. So he lost 18 seconds on the first stage in mistakes, and he had a couple more spins through the race. So the race was never about the result. It was more about getting maybe a couple of good stage times. But in general, I must say that every stage was actually very good. And if you look at the splits, he was very careful the first part until they build up the feeling and experience and aerodynamic, and then he got faster and faster. So he was the fourth. He was fourth of winning splits on the whole rally from everybody.
Yeah, because I've begun the job to break the rally into pieces per sector, and like stages 3 and 4, Oliver was fastest in 3 out of 6 splits in both of those stages.
Yeah, and then of course on the second loop on Saturday, when they were starting early, him and Ogier, of course, it's a little bit more difficult for the lines compared with the further back. But anyway, it doesn't matter. The consistency was there, and I looked on the onboard and it looked really nice. But still, it's a long way to go to learn. You know, now you're on snow, and on tarmac, you're gonna be a big job because it's very different. Yeah, and on gravel, I think it should be okay, but we just need to come and start again on that and just try it and get the feel for it, you know. But a little bit more testing, I would have for sure been liking to be more prepared.
Yeah.
But to tackle it like that with under one day of testing, I must say that I think, and with a new car driver, I think that was very interesting, you know.
Is there going to be more rallies in the World Rally Car? Is there something you can say?
I have nothing to do with this. I just helping Oliver with the technical and driving style and feeling. You know, Adamo is and Alan Panas in charge of whatever he gonna do.
Okay.
I know what I would have done, but they are in charge, and I think, you know, we have to build up, you know, they were doing this faster than what I expected, to jump into a car like this. But we will see what their plan is. But when you see, it's so impressive what Rovenper have done. He did very well last year from the start, and it's nice to see that these young guys are coming up, and it's many other young guys also coming. Hutun is a very good driver. Lindholm is a very good driver. In Finland you have a lot. You have Bulacia is coming.
Is he Finnish as well?
You have Griasin. It's so many, and you have a lot of good drivers around coming. So you just need to use your chance very good when you get it.
Do you think this is a question from someone, do you think it will be a Kalle Oliver matchup for the next years to come, fighting for the World Championship?
We have seen Oliver in one race now, and it's too early to say anything. Let the young guys get their time. I think it's enough pressure on them anyway, in that age. And, this is maybe the youngest we have seen anybody coming in like these guys. When we came in, it's, the youngest world champion is 27. I came in as 24. So, if people think this is so easy, like, it's not. It's so many surfaces and conditions. And if you have a circuit, you can maybe do it like we see with the Verstappen. It's very impressive, okay, he's very good, but it's not easy. You can ask Bottas, and you can also ask Kimi. When they're done trial rallying, also you need a lot of knowledge and experience. Even they are fantastic drivers.
What were you doing when you were 18? I was driving a rear-wheel drive Ford Escort. I was driving a World Rally car. Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, I did autocross.
The world has changed a lot, and it will be.
It's how it is, and let's go with the flow and just be supportive as best as we can. The main thing is that the championship is growing, and hopefully getting more manufacturers in the future, and keep the positivity of everything, and because it is fantastic TV pictures from Arctic. I mean, when you see the helicopter picture, honestly, I was so jealous,
Yeah.
It's a long time ago. I felt like, think about standing on the stage on the first loop of the day, -3, sunshine.
Yeah.
With a happy Marshall standing there to support the rallying, it's very. It's I was jealous.
Yeah, I was jealous only driving the stages, doing the recce, because I know obviously the stages by heart, and seeing the conditions Saturday morning, it was just.
Oh, that was crazy.
I don't. Where is the knife? I want to cut my hands open. I don't want to see this. Basically, the feeling was that bad. Is there any truth in behind Subaru coming back into rallying in the future? Because you have also been linked in that for some reason. Well, not for some reason. Obviously, the reason is your background with Subaru, but.
Yeah, but it's everything is too early now, and you have it. It's this COVID times and everything. I think it's dream for many people to also see Subaru back. And in general, we just want some other brands in, together. I think that's the main thing, and okay, it would have been fun to see Subaru again, but let's see what the future brings. I think that's the only thing, and we try to support everybody who's there now. Best as possible.
Where do you see rally developing with these hybrid cars now coming in, and do you think it will bring more manufacturers, and do you think this is the right direction that we are heading now with the current World Rally cars and moving to 22 cars, or is it getting too expensive? Not too, it's been expensive always, but should they maybe do something different to get more manufacturers in?
I think this is already a big difference. What will go with the new rules? It will be easier for other manufacturers to come in, and for me, it's a good direction, and you need a hybrid. I think hybrid is the future. and I think you can have pure electric for Rallycross if it's for that. So I think we find something for a different type of sports, and I think it can be very good. And I think the decision of the future has been taken together with the manufacturers. You know what can be the best, and so I think the decision is not taken by anybody alone. You know, you have to follow the direction of development of the future road cars, and I think they're on the right way. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that one. I have to agree that it's not FIA who is only making the calls. Manufacturers want the latest technology in the cars as they do in Formula One. So
no,
it's
but things will change in the future now. So, but we are on the right way.
Good. I think we have now been doing this for 2.5 hours, and
seriously,
I think we could go on for next 2.5 hours without any issues.
But I haven't taken any good stories yet, you know, proper stories.
Well,
you know?
start to tell them. I've been saving you. I have some good stories I would want to ask you, but
you start to get tired, you know, you're getting old. This is the problem, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I'm already feeling a bit tired as well. No.
But how has the interest been with the people? Have they asked a lot of questions and showed good interest, you know?
This has been growing really nicely. I really like this, and they are interested, and they are sending me lots of questions. I can't take every question in, obviously, but there is lots of questions and lots of interest.
Yeah, but I think also another thing that is important to say is to learn language, you know.
Yeah.
For these young guys early enough, and I think okay, I was not good in language when I came in, but I understood that. Okay, I was not so interested in school either, but the language is the one thing that I regret that I didn't focus properly on. You know, when you see how important it is, basically, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Your English has always been good, so you are lucky. You know, you have been clever in school. You know.
I wasn't clever in school. I was never in school.
You should say thank you, Petter. You know, for that. Nice,
no, I'm being honest. You said be honest, and I'm being honest.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
That's why I'm doing rally coaching, because I didn't study. So, but I have the chance to live my dream. I love rally as you do, and I'm passionate just as you are. So, I love to being able to give something to these young guys back that I never managed to do.
No.
Yeah, I think we have now
Yeah,
covered.
that's perfect.
Will I see you in Corsica? Not Corsica. Oh, maybe Corsica as well. In Croatia.
I don't know. I'm only following Oliver, so if
Oliver, will I see you in Croatia?
Oliver.
Ah,
Will I see you in Croatia?
yes.
Yes. Good.
See you there.
See you there. Are you driving
sure?
dirt, or what are you driving? iRacing or dirt? What is he driving?
I racing now.
Ah, I need to send you a friend request. We can do some races together.
Yeah, do that.
I don't like iRacing. I like R Factor, you know.
But our factory is for you old guys.
It's maybe true.
There was one question about your time in dirt. Elshön Sprint. How the hell have you done such a good time? Has it been Oliver driving?
No. That one I was practiced most on.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it was actually that stage. I tried everything. Even Pernilla drove it also. She was not too bad actually. But I practiced a lot, you know, because Oliver have 17,000 members in the Solberg Dirt Cup, you know.
Yeah.
But I was maybe around, you know, on some of my best stages, maybe 20, 25 in speed.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been sitting, you know, I've been sitting so much. This is mine, yeah. Yeah. And then I got so bad back at the end, you know, because I was sitting 12, 15 hours a day, you know. And especially before we did the dirt. Now in the 500.
Yeah.
The competition, and me and Alonso was sitting, I mean, I don't know how many hours, and then I took pole position just in front of Alonso for the race. Oliver, what's the name of the one I did? Daytona?
In the car.
in the car.
IndyCar, yeah.
And yeah, I took pole position. I was, the legend race, basically,
Yeah. Mika Sala was telling me because you were doing the Air Factor, and he said
Yeah.
you were doing so much illegal training that it was just incredible.
No. From the first race, we didn't know how it worked, And then I was training a lot, And then it came rules in, and then we have to follow the rules.
But you still cheated, I heard. Mika was telling me this.
No chance. I never cheat. Just pushing the limit sometimes, but never cheat. But Mika he was also good,
Yeah, he's not bad. He's driving dirt a lot.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Two last questions. Top 5 rally drivers that you would rank, taking everyone into consideration, and then top 5 rallies of your career or the calendar.
This is.
I know this is not easy, but this is the last question, so.
Oh.
And where do you put yourself?
Forget me. I'm not. It's more important than everybody else. And the thing is, you can put in a couple of French there. You can put in a couple of 3 Finnish drivers, and then you have maybe one Scottish driver in there. I think that's sum it up basically.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. And everybody knows who it is, but put them in order like that. It's different times.
Yeah.
Can't compare.
Yeah.
All these guys are good. You have to remember, and but to compare that, for each entry, it's difficult,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking of this list, and I could not. It would take a lot of thinking to be able to.
Okay, Loben or Jerry have the most championship, that for sure, but you have to look at other different, qualities. You have to look at different times, who was there, when they won it, and it's so many things. How was the hard competition there compared with then, and so if you think about that, the hardest competition with most drivers was in 2003 from the old generation. So
And just when you said you're not gonna say yourself, I knew this was gonna end up like this.
Well, I didn't say anything. I just said that from the new and old generation. I said it was a very hard year. I didn't say anything else. Well, it was a good ending of your.
It was a good ending of the question. That was a good ending, I think, also to this interview.
But I must say thank you for this, and for everybody who's listening.
Thank you for you, Petter.
I hope it's been some interesting stuff, and
it has.
As friends, to help each other to share information, I think it's a good thing. And
yeah,
and you owe me now.
I know I owe you. I know, and if you don't know if you're in Croatia, but I will give it back to you in Croatia.
Okay.
10 cents, €1.
Okay.
No, we'll see in Croatia, and we'll do something.
Yeah,
hopefully.
I'm a good man. Thanks for that. It was a nice evening.
Thank you very much, Petter, and send my best regards to Pernilla as well, please.
I will.
And Oliver, I will kick your ass in iRacing.
I am shit in iRacing.
Good. So am I. So we can race together. Okay, thank you, Petter, very much, and see you soon.
Thank you, everybody. Cheers. Talk soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.